every presenter who sent me their script, which was good. I gave them 1 or 2 suggestions. They sent back the script based on my advice. And then what we'll be hearing is their version 2 that we are putting under the magnifying glass. So Valerie, are you there? You are going to set up and introduce our speakers.
Dr. AlyceAnn Crump. Within 6 months, Dr. AlyceAnn Crump.
They are 182.5 days in 6 months. There are 4,382.91 hours in 6 months. And there are 262,800 minutes in 6 months. To some people, 6 months seem like a long way off. And to other people, no time at all. But for me and my husband, it was the right amount of time. Last January, my husband Donald and I was told his organs was deteriorating. And they was deteriorating at a massive rate. Every emotion of my being was devastated. Pain, fear, frustration, confusion, and horror. Where was my lifetime? As I pondered on those words, my mind flooded back to the night he proposed. Will you marry me? Yes, on one condition. You got conditions? Yeah. We're talking about my life here. I'm trying to be romantic. What's your condition? I say yes. She promised to give me 50 plus years. Babe, I can't promise you 50 plus years, but I can promise you a lifetime. Yeah, just above a whisper. And then he said, well, if we pass some conditions around, I got a condition. What's your condition? Whatever we face, whatever we do it together. Divorce is not an option. What's your condition? We cannot get a divorce. Let me think. You don't get a divorce, and I get a lifetime? Win-win for me. Yes, I'll marry you. Now looking at him, the tears began to flow. All composure went out the window. I couldn't contain it. I was flooded with all these emotions. And my husband lifted my chin and dried my tears and said, in light of the information that we just got, we're not going to count days. We're going to make each day count. What is it that you want? I want my lifetime. You promised. Okay. We have a special gift here. Most people have no idea when the end is coming. We still don't know, but we have a glimpse. So what is it that you want to do, given the time we have left? Tears. They're there again. I said, I want to make love to you every single day. He smiled. Not like that. I just want to make sure that you know that you're loved. Every ounce of my being, everything that I do from this day forward is to show you that I love you. It's to show you how much you mean to me. Good idea. Doctor, come back in the room. My husband asked for us, do not resuscitate water. What do you need that for? You just told me you're going to make every effort to make sure that I'm loved. My heart's an organ. My brain's organ. I won't be able to make decisions. So I'm gonna make the decision now because I love you. Within those 6 months, we've taken care of everything that we needed to take care of. The will, the obituary, I know all the arrangements, everything. But within these 6 months, we've learned how to love each other more, spend time with each other more, to embrace each other more, to be in the moment. None of us know how much time we have. None of us know when the last time we can say, I love you. Make it your ambition to love the one that you're with. Spend more time, be in the moment, care, love, hug, laugh. None of us know. I was given 182.5 days. And I am excited about all of them. My husband is still here. The doctor's prediction was wrong, but I'm making it my life ambition to love him. Make it yours to love your loved one. Toastmaster.
Wow. Well, of course, this is a very emotional story, and you bring up a very good question that most people ask. When you are telling an emotional story, how do you stop from crying? And the idea is, I think it is fine to show emotion in an emotional story. You just have to be comfortable with it enough that you can tell the story. Because reading your presentation and rewriting your presentation, I was getting emotional, I'll tell you, and it's not even my story. That's the power of a good story. Now, by your speech that you sent me, I did not understand that your husband is still alive. He's still with us? Well, hallelujah. Because doctors are often wrong. I did not quite understand this. So this is what I took with the script that I received. Now, can you remember what I asked you? I sent you an email after reading it. And can you remember what one of the questions was?
Yes, what my husband's name was and how long we have been living and how long we've been married and how long our courtship was.
Exactly, because this is a very important lesson to us all. When you have a character who is a main part of the story, we need to know their name. I mean, Larry Maritini was a hairstyling customer, you know his name. And what I embellished some of your stories, I shortened some parts, I created scenes which communicated what you were saying. With dialogue, I edited some of the dialogue down to be more one-sided. You had sent me 588 words, I edited it down to 454. I loved the opening of the presentation. At the beginning, you had given me about 4 times. Usually there's the law of 3. 3 is enough, and 3 has a rhythm. So this is my version, understanding I didn't know you. Hallelujah, he was still with us. In the next 6 months, there are 182.5 days, 4,382.91 hours, and 262,800 minutes. For you, that's bringing in the order. For you, 6 months from now may be a long way off. For some, 6 months is no time at all. For me and Donald, the love of my life, the only man I ever considered loving enough to promise to cherish in sickness and in health. 6
I love
months
that.
was the right amount of time. Well, yes, of course. Of
Yes.
course. That's what you promised your husband. That's
Yes.
what I call adding flavor and adding scenes. Now here's another scene. Last January, our doctor told us, Donald, your organs are deteriorating at an excessively fast pace. Every emotion filled my being. Devastation, pain, fear, frustration, confusion displayed. What happened to my lifetime? My mind flashed back to the night that Donald was his most romantic. On one knee, he asked, will you marry me? Now, what you are doing, and you do it very well, this is very clever. You are taking us from one scene back in time. And you are, so that is fabulous. And you're comparing two situations. I don't know if he went to his knee. In your conversation, the way, and you delivered it very well, it sounded a little sparring to me. In my version, it's a little more romantic. My reply, my answer is yes on one condition. You promise me we will have at least 50 years together. So what I'm doing is I'm shrinking the back and forth to put some of the answers together.
Okay. Yes, I like that.
Donald said, I cannot promise you 50 years. I can promise you a lifetime on one condition. We acknowledge we will face challenges. Whatever hardship we face, we will do it together. Divorce is not an option. Yes.
I love that.
If you will give me a lifetime. In that magical moment, my tears of joy began to flow. In the middle of the doctor's office, my tears of sadness began to flow. So this is where you're comparing the two situations.
Yeah.
Donald was going to die, and our lifetime would be cut short. As the doctor excused himself to allow us some privacy, Donald lifted my head. Now, can you understand by using his name, it's such more emotional than just calling him your husband?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Donald lifted my head and tenderly dried my tears. He said, I know the news isn't great. We are not going to count the days. We are going to make the days count. Now, that was from your script, and it was marvelous. That is, you want to savor that.
Okay.
Let us celebrate that we can choose how to pack our lifetime in 6 months.
Wow.
My goal is to make sure I give you a double lifetime to enjoy and remember.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah. When the doctor returned, Donald asked. Now, again, this is where I'm shrinking time with dialogue. May I sign the do not resuscitate order? This is a decision AlyceAnn should not have to make. In the next 6 months, Donald wrote his will and paid off all our debts. Together, we wrote the stories for our obituaries and took care of all the final arrangements.
Yeah.
Before that time, good. Before that time, we were considered, we lived, loved, and cherished our lives together. In those 6 months, together more than ever, we laughed, enjoyed each other's company, encouraged one another, and celebrated our 2 years of courtship and 37 years of marriage. Donald could not promise me 50 years. However, we squeezed a century in love, of love and caring it into what we had. I challenge you to treasure your loved ones, treasure the time you have. And if Donald were here, he would tell you, listen to my wife. She knows what she's talking about.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing.
All right.
Thank you.
So
That is
again,
amazing.
this one, of course, you're a woman after my own heart. I love the way you look, and I love my head coverings too. And I think it's great that you have your picture so we can see Donald. I did not know he was with us, so that's even better, because you can add, and every day we still have. So it was good. And hopefully with these few tweaks, you can make it a masterpiece. But think what emotion is of the scene. And I think to me, it's romantic when he's proposing. I know you're a feisty woman and he knew what he was getting into, but so just the love and cherish, the only man, because I'm sure, as a hot babe, you probably had plenty of offers, but this is the only one you promise to love and cherish.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you. I love it. Thank you.
Good. I do want it to be very clear. The doctor was wrong.
Absolutely.
Our 6 months, and you could say God has given us an extension. You could say we got an angel, or we have our own personal Cupid who's given us an extension.
Okay. Yeah, I love that.
Good. Wonderful. And of course, because you're a feisty woman, I'm sure Donna will say, listen to my wife, she's right. Now, I make some assumptions because I don't know you, of course, but hopefully those suggestions will make a difference. So
Thank you.
Good. A wonderful job. Wonderful
Thank
job.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. And for our friends who are listening, it's a matter of, once you have your presentation, have it transcribed. Look through every sentence to see, can you change a word from head to mind? What are you saying? Can you add dialogue? And what you might notice is that, yes, we got 2 characters, a husband and wife in the doctor's office, but bring in another character, look at it, deliver the news in the words of the doctor. And he becomes a sympathetic character because he's leaving to give you time together. Not every doctor has the sensitivity to understand. Some decisions are too big to be made in a moment. And again, you make Donald the hero, where he wants to plan ahead and save his sweetheart from debt, from having to make tough decisions. And and as we listen to stories like this, we put ourselves in the situation. It reminds all of us, married or single, and I'm single. Perhaps that's because, Valerie, my favorite expression is, if I may suggest. But at least people pay me for my suggestions.
Right.
Okay. But there are lessons in all these presentations. Let's do a review. Whatever your dream or your goal is, you can put it on the shelf and let it gather dust, because who knows when you're going to meet the fairy and if you recognize them when you meet them. And the lesson is, you tell everybody what you want, and someone will come and say, hey, I know someone who can help you. 2, life is full of traffic jams, literal and metaphorical. And you can scream, you can pout, you can pound the steering wheel, And that is okay for a certain amount of time, then get practical. I know I have spent probably the same amount of commute time sitting on planes thinking, there is nothing I can do about this. If I miss my connection, there'll be another. There's nothing I can do. Don't do your work. Get out your thriller and read and fill the time. Because I don't know about you, but on planes, doing my work does not make time rush by. Reading a good thriller does. So you see, we see ourselves in these stories. With being married or single, we should all have decisions made when we are not emotional, and hopefully we're healthy enough to make wise decisions.